Hello. Pizza cutter? Not really. What's up, guys? So today we're gonna do our first pre-preg project.
Pre-preg project, triple P.
Well, actually, it's not my first. I technically have already tried it one time. We got a fresh batch of pre-preg from fiberglass. Cool thing about this pre-preg is if you've done any research on pre-preg, 90% of them are you have to like keep in a freezer.
Mm-hmm.
But this is fiberglass's 221-C, which is their regular. It's like a regular 3K carbon, like the carbon we usually use, like the same style, 12 weave and everything like that. But it's pre-impregnated with the epoxy resin already. But you can leave it at room temperature. So you don't have to, a lot of pre-pregs you'll have to keep in a freezer.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait, you have to take it out of the freezer like 20 something hours before you start laying it up. And then you have to put it back in the freezer in a sealed bag. You have to keep resealing it, stuff like that. So this stuff is...
So basically, pre-preg is just carbon fiber that already has the perfect amount of resin.
Yeah, like literally it's like exactly 30, I think 37% resin to carbon fibers, or I'm not exactly sure. They have it all on their website, but it's like the optimal, like infusions can get very close, but this is like the optimal resin to carbon ratio. But this is also the most convenient version of that. So it's very, very nice to work with. And you can see it's got like a plastic film on it. It actually has it on both sides.
That's the blue film?
Yeah, the blue stuff. Where's the end of this thing? So the blue film is on both sides. Some pre-pregs have a dry side and a wet side. So you have to like make sure you put it down the correct direction and stuff like that. But this has no dry side at all. So it's literally like foolproof. You can just throw it in there. It's like applying a sticker. Cool. Actually, we have not even mentioned the part that we're making. This is actually going to be the inner dish for the rear turbofan. This is made out of steel. So steel actually won't, when it gets hot, it won't expand as much as like an aluminum or something like that, which you can use to your advantage when making a pre-preg. You can have the mold actually grow a little bit if it's made out of aluminum, like machined out of it.
Yeah.
But for this, I don't actually need it to, it shouldn't be hard to like pop the part out of this. So it's fine being steel.
I'm glad you're doing the turbofan part. Somebody actually just mentioned that. I feel like a couple
videos ago. Yeah, the last video.
Yeah.
So, and it's an easy enough project to start with. I mean, it is kind of a complicated shape to lay up, just because, not too complicated, but because carbon fiber in a 12 weave pattern really likes to give in only two directions. So wrapping anything that's a dome shape like that, you have to cut into a bunch of little sections.
So I guess you have to leave a good amount of overlap.
Yeah, so that's actually what I made a little template here out of like a scrap piece of 12K that I had and some tape. But like, so this inside triangle pizza slice looking piece is the actual layup area, and then this is going to be overlap. So every time I set this down, the next piece is going to overlap over this section. So it'll have about, ½ inch maybe of overlap per layer walking around it. And then this little bit on the bottom is like a little extra that sits off of here that I'll cut off later. So,
okay.
So we're going to lay down the very first layer of the carbon, and then we're going to throw it in a vacuum bag and suck it down, and then let it sit for 10 minutes. Make sure that first layer is really fully, gotten all like the air out of like the between the mold and all of the pre-preg sections, and then we can go on and we can do the final 2 more layers, because I'm just going to run 3 layers on this piece. The test piece I did had 2 layers, and it was pretty strong for just being 2 layers of pre-preg thick, especially because it's just a 3K.
Yeah.
But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a Sharpie And I need 8 of these to go around the whole perimeter, but I actually want to cut out a circle for the first piece too. But I'm just gonna start laying these guys out. Wow, got a lot of these bad boys. The very first one, I cut the excess that would be overlapping off, just so in the actual mold, it's a triangle first instead of a squared off end triangle. So we'll set this one first, but every other following piece is the exact same shape. Actually, no, first we're gonna set this little disc on top, and then all of the following ones will come after that. We waxed it with, the wax is 4121 from Fiberglass, and that is a higher temp wax. It's very similar to the green Cardall paste that we use, but you only do 3 layers on a new mold, and in between each layer you wax it on and let it sit for 4 to 6 hours. And you kind of buff off the top layer, wax another layer on, let it sit for 4 to 6 hours. You do that 3 times, and then you buff it off, and you're left with your part that will be good to go. And on Fiberglass, for all of their products, they have a data sheet on everything. It'll give you specific information on every single one of their products. So if you're wondering, you can look at the product data sheet for the pre-preg. They have different cure cycles, where if you're running at 275, you run it longer, but at 310, you only have to sit it at 310 for an hour in the oven. But you do have to ramp the temperature up and ramp it back down. So what I do is kind of start at a lower temperature and ramp it up for about a half an hour. And you want to ramp it up maybe like 5 degrees every minute. And then when you're ramping the temperature down, it's a little bit less, like less than 5 degrees per minute. So we're gonna keep all the pre-preg scraps and try to maybe find something that we can do for all of our Patreon patrons and a lot of P's today. And all the YouTube members and stuff like that.
Yeah. Any donation or support goes a long way.
Or a shirt, but know that we are right in the cusp of doing something new. We're setting something up to really help give back to the people that are actually supporting us.
This is about that time of the season.
True. So yeah, literally it peels right off like a sticker. The hardest part about laying pre-preg up is literally just peeling it, which is no harder than peeling any regular sticker. So as you can imagine, it's very easy. Sticks down really well. So it's probably gonna be about an hour of me sticking a bunch of stuff down, but I like to set the flat part down, peel it. And then once I've gone all the way around, I'm going to come in with a tool and actually try to press it into that angle. Luckily this mold's super simple and it doesn't have too many crazy creases. Now we're starting with, we've done our first actual true triangle piece. Now we're going to start with our slightly larger ones that have an overlap. So like the weird oblong section, or the extra section of the triangle. See how it's got a squared off end? So this is the about, like, you know, 1/2 inch of overlap. So just set that first, and then the next piece will overlap from that piece, and then the next piece, and then it'll fully circle around. So I got a bleeder on the bottom. I'm only using this peel ply to suck this down. I'm not using this peel ply for the actual baking. I'm going to use a different peel ply, the purple stuff.
What was the purpose of vacuuming the first layer down?
Just to make sure you don't have, like, make sure the first layer is really stuck down to the mold and follows all the contours.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna vacuum it down, let it sit for around like 10 minutes under like full vacuum, and then we'll bring it back out. I'll just cut this end and slightly shorten the bag, and we'll just put the last 2 layers on everything, and then put it back in the bag, and then we'll start baking. All right, so we got this all vacuumed down using the breathable peel ply for right now. And just making sure that everything's tight. But we're gonna set this for 10 minutes to sit at full vacuum, and then we'll come back, pull it back out, and get the rest of the pre-prep. So now you can see, like, you can even see like the little bevel of the first layer, how it's been sucked down. It's conformed to that. You can see all the creases throughout everything. So very confident that this is stuck down well. And in that 10 minutes we were waiting, I pre-pulled half of the back of these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start laying the next 2 whole layers on it, but each layer I'm going to offset about a 1/2 inch from the original one. Okay, so we have all 3 layers that have been like a spiral, like 15%, and 15 degree off pattern, and I've razor bladed around the edge so there's no extra material. And then this is the fiberglass has a non-porous pre-preg peel ply, which is part number 3782. What did you say? 3781?
3782.
3782. I lost the thing for it. But, so it's non-porous, which is important for pre-preg, because the pre-preg has the perfect amount of 37% resin already embedded in it. And if you had a porous pre-preg, a peel ply like this, some of the resin would pass through it as it gets warmed, and it would lose some of it in the part. So this will keep all of this resin in here, but it's also rated at like 350 degrees or something like that. So I'm gonna make sure it doesn't have any crazy voids in it touching the part. And then we just need to put this back in my little bag. I'm gonna keep the bleeder cloth on the bottom section of it, so air can travel around it. And then So you seal the bag back up and then we'll start baking. So now that we got this sucked down, we're gonna take this over to the oven and then we're gonna reconnect the vacuum to it and I'll show you from there. This is just a typical house oven. It's an electric oven. And I ran a vacuum line in it. So we can put that there. Sure, that'll be fine. And then
This is a really nice house oven.
And then we're gonna do some baking. Convection, so it moves the air around. Actually, no, I'll do regular bake first to ramp up. And we're gonna start at 175 because it takes a while to get to that anyways. And once it gets to 175, we're gonna bump it up 5 degrees every minute until we get to 310.
And all this info is what, I guess, on fiberglass?
Yeah, it's on fiberglass spec sheet for their pre-preg.
Oh, okay.
And once we get it to 310, we'll stay there for 2 hours. It's obviously worth noting, this is just a regular house oven. A lot of pre-pregs also need an autoclave, which basically you put a vacuumed part just like this inside an oven, but then you close the oven and then you pressurize that oven. There's a lot of heat and a lot of pressure, which is super dangerous. So a lot of times they've domed ends and they're really super thick steel and they're very expensive. So this is also, not only does it not need to be in a freezer, it's also out of autoclave pre-preg. So you can just bake it in an oven, as long as you got pressure.
Gotta need more energy?
So in the last episode, we asked you guys to comment how we could change our content, or well, we're planning to change our content in some type of way, and which direction you guys would like to see us go, or anything small even that you would like us to change up. Some people said don't change anything, we like you guys the way you are and all that stuff. Thanks, we appreciate it, but that's not what we were looking for. We're definitely trying to grow as a channel, not only in like the numbers of like views and stuff like that, but also in this like the stuff that we do in general. So
plus it like challenges us to do stuff a little different, just to keep things fresh, because every now and then things can get repetitive and we like to challenge ourselves.
we're trying to learn. So the first one, Dr. N54. Do you have a car with an N54? Because I feel for you. They make good power, but they got problems. I love the content you create. Thank you. Very nice. I love learning from y'all. I definitely love to see you guys drive your cars though. Yeah, so there are like 30 of these.
My car is currently sitting on jack stands, so I don't think that's going to be driving anytime soon.
And my car needs an ECU, but we absolutely are going to be driving our cars on track. Also, it is middle of December, so there's nothing really going on track-wise. But, I mean, as soon as the cars are available to drive, even on the streets, we'll take them to Cars and Coffee or something like that once that starts back up, because that's not even happening right now either.
Yeah.
But also, as we plan 2021, the 240Z will be done, Xavier's car will be done early in the year. So we'll be racing those, and as we're racing them, we have a new big project that we're going to be bringing in to replace that. But
I don't like to hype stuff up, but
it's going to be sick.
I'm going to just say this a crazy build. Like, just take my word for it.
Crazier than this Z, but Ace S says, you guys already make good content. Just be consistent with upload and maybe work on a new car from start to finish without hopping around from car to car. Other than that, you guys are killing it. Wouldn't mind another S2000 build. Well, we're planning on having everything ready for the next build, so we're not ever waiting on parts and other stuff, maybe small parts, but like all the big major stuff we want already here before we even start the stuff. So as soon as that new project is like actually posted on YouTube, we'll already be a couple videos in, so we can be more consistent and we're not having to play catch up. One Dicky Cat, he's always commenting. Thanks, bro.
I thought, yeah.
He's a real OG for sure. Saw the preview of the pre-preg stuff in IG. Was kind of hoping that was this episode was on. Oh well, love the good SB content. That's this episode. So you'll be happy to see this one. Dutch Swift said, you guys should do a react video to other people's projects and other suggestions if you have any. That'd be cool.
Ooh, yes.
Okay, Justin Vandergriff says, I think it'd be really cool if subs could send in short videos of their reasonable, because my car's not reasonable, composite projects, and you walk through exactly how you'd approach them using fiberglass products. I have a lot of ideas and of projects I'd like to attempt, but not being able to find someone doing exactly what I'm trying makes buying the components and attempting it really intimidating. Yeah, that would actually be a really cool idea.
Yeah.
If you have any type of composite project, some people like tag me in them on Instagram. I like to shout them out as whenever I can, but
I can understand that, because sometimes, like, I know before we did carbon fiber stuff, I used to go to Fiberglass website, and it was like kind of scary because it's a lot of options, but
yeah, there's a lot of stuff they sell that I haven't even tried.
Yeah,
too.
but like once you get the basics down, which is kind of I feel like what we do, you just take those same concepts and then apply them and just take a risk.
Yeah. But also, don't be afraid to call them. Michelle is literally the nicest lady ever.
They really have great.
She will absolutely help you whenever she can. But yeah. So if you have any, where should we send them? To our Instagrams or something like that?
What?
They're composites projects.
Yeah, message us on Instagram and we could tell you where to send.
We'll put both our Instagrams up right here. But yeah, so just DM us your composites thing and just mention this, like you're cool with us putting it in a video.
Look at that turkey.
I need some oven mitts. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, sizzling. It's just amazing. Every wheel.
What the hell?
I think that was it releasing off the mold.
Yo, that joint got my ears ringing.
Same. Boom. That is a professional looking part if I've ever seen one. Very sturdy. Let's see how much she weighs. 256 grams. Or 9 ounces. Woo. It's a bolt. Should we put it on the car?